Today we're going to be building a mid-century bedside room divider with book-matched drawer fronts and an inlay. So to begin this project, you're going to need just a couple different species of wood. You'll need some pine, Douglas fir, quarter sawn white oak, half sawn red oak, triple sawn maple, purple heart, yellow heart, red heart, green heart, wenge, babinga, American walnut, Canadian mahogany, Brazilian birch, Peruvian poplar, cypress, olive, teak, willow, tupelo, sassafras, and Baltic birch plywood. All of these can be found at your local big box store or high-end exotic wood supplier run by the scariest men you've ever met in your life. You make this well enough and it will last for a lifetime. Speaking of lifetime, I get my life insurance from Policy Genius. Here's a little woodworking tip. Use your cheap, awful material wherever possible and then just cover it up with an equal amount of nicer wood. My job as a content creator takes me all over the world, and when I'm traveling, I want to make sure no one's accessing my secret woodworking information. That's why I trust my internet privacy to NordVPN. An old woodworking mentor of mine once said that carpentry is just building boxes over and over, so that's what we'll be doing today. However, I don't want to bore you with this. I've extensively covered how to make these things in other videos, so you can check down in the description for a link to my 59 video playlist which covers everything you need to know. Sometimes woodworking is so fun it feels like a game. You know what else is a fun game? Hero Wars. In order to get the waterfall edges, I'm not going to be using bevels. I'm going to be using tongue and groove. This is solid English oak, which comes from England, which is near Scotland, which is where you can become a lord with established titles. Now onto finishing. I like to use Mono's Ruby Coat. It's intended for use on boats, but you can use it on your own projects with the added benefit that in the case of an emergency, your furniture can be used as a flotation device. Raycon. Now, I'm really excited about this project because the client requested that it be made from a slab of solid epoxy. Now, I know you gremlins in the comments are going to be yelling at me, "Epoxy? You're not a real woodworker." Well, I'll say two things to you. Number one, the customer is always right. And number two, I'm going to be selling this table for $137,000. So if you're so smart, why don't you start your own woodworking channel? Someone said I should make a dining table that pulls out into a Murphy bed. So, challenge accepted. Now, personally, I don't use a tape measure. You can if you want. I'm not going to judge you if you want to use a tape measure or even a square like some amateur dilettante weekend hobbyist, but I think it's always important to know how to eyeball things. 47 5/8. Bang on the money. Someone said I should try to make a credenza using only weirdly shaped offcuts, so challenge accepted. I need a miter joint across the top 3 corners, and because the panel is so long, I'll start the cut with the miter saw, and then midway through I'll move it to the table saw, take off a couple more inches with the bandsaw, and finally finish it off with the jigsaw. Now, a commenter suggested that I make some miter drawer pulls, which I've never really tried before, so challenge accepted. So at this point, we can set everything aside and start working on the other panels. I need 4 main panels, 2 divider panels, 3 toe kick panels, 1 more divider panel, and a couple of panels in case I mess up, and 1 panel that'll go across the back. I'm gonna make 2 of those. Now, a bunch of commenters have been saying, why are you chamfering the dado crosswise? Shouldn't it be on the diagonal? Didn't you plan this project through? And, well, look, okay, so I haven't actually been receiving comments that say that specifically, but I'm still going to be defensive about it, okay? Now we're ready to start with the assembly. First, we do a dry fit, then a wet fit. Perfect. Next up, we'll cross-cut the stretchers. These are going to have a half-lap chamfered dado on each end with rabbeted mortises running along the edge grain. Now, I know it sounds complicated, but just stick with me and it'll all make sense. This is a DeWitt Random Orbital Hand Sander. Now, I personally don't think it does that great of a job. My drawers always come out crooked, my corners are never square, and it can't convert metric to imperial to save its life. But this little one was given to me by an old woodworking mentor who said, "It's a poor carpenter who blames their tools." And, well, I'm a rich carpenter, so I can definitively say this thing's ruining my work. It's a crazy looking glue up, but hold your horses, I'll get to it. Now, I'm not sponsored by Stop a Chop table saws, but I love this thing. It is pricey, but it has industry-leading safety features. If it detects that the saw blade has come in contact with human flesh, the saw speeds up and flings your body part out of harm's way. I myself have been thrown clear across my shop several times since I've gotten this, and Honestly, the head trauma is worth keeping all my fingers. Now, I know what it looks like, but I'm not done yet, so just keep your shirt on and chill the hell out, alright? I read a lot of comments about the fact that I use the green tool domino joiner. Now, I always say this tool is not necessary to be a good woodworker, but I will admit that every professional who makes a living off of making furniture, who takes the craft seriously, owns one. Some of them own 3. But Spencer, they're so expensive. But Spencer, can't you just use dowels or biscuits? Grow up. Do what I did. Save up, sell some plasma, and buy a $1,400 power tool. And don't tell your wife, am I right? Would you get off my back? I'm gonna explain everything. Just be patient. Jesus. So first we'll start by ripping some boards. This isn't necessary for the project, but I just wanted to turn this one big piece into a slightly smaller piece. It's important when you're making joinery with a tight fit to sneak up on your cuts. Make one pass on your table saw to get it in the ballpark, then move your fence over. Just a 32nd of an inch will do. Trim it down, get really close, and then back it off and just cut the air in front of it. Make sure there aren't any evil specters seeping out of the pores in the wood to introduce humidity into your shop. Sneak up on it again, and this time add an element of surprise. Once that's all done, the main panel can be cut to finish length while I rip the width and cut the matching angle to the side panel's reverse side on the front edge. This is just because I like the look of it. Speaking of which, I'm selling plans for this and my other projects on my website. You can get a dozen plans for the cost of 12 running through the end of the month with the promo code I watched Spencer's video. He's the best woodworker I've ever seen. Remember not to capitalize the. That's just for fun. As you can see, I've got a pretty big shop and a lot of tools, but you don't need a lot of space and a lot of expensive tools to make something that you can be proud of. All you really need is a table saw. A table saw and a miter saw. And a jigsaw and a circular saw with a track. A router would be useful too. You'll need a workbench for that. A pin nailer, and if you don't get your lumber milled up beforehand, a planer or a jointer. A planer and a jointer, let's be honest. Then you'll need to finish with a drum sander, a spindle sander, a hand sander, rasps, chisels, some Japanese pull saws, a compressed air system, a vacuum system, and that's all you really need. Oh, and a drill. It's so easy to get started. This is the first part in a series where I make extensive renovations to my wood shop. So extensive that you might start to wonder how I can afford everything or have time for clients. No time for that though. Let's go install my water jet table. I'm what you call a cool boss. I give everyone who works for me a hard time, but they like it. Spencer, I don't need a jointer. I get my boards S3S. Well, then in that case, I guess you don't need any tools because you can just buy finished furniture instead. I've got a couple of shop assistants. One of them sands everything. I call him Sandy. The other one finishes everything. He's from Finland. So I approached Green Tool with a proposal. Give me a bunch of your product for free and I will give it an honest review. I'm just a humble woodworking channel with 1.2 million followers, so all I can offer is my objectivity and the chance for the viewer to imagine what it would be like to spend $300 on a router bit. And my third assistant runs my camera. I call him George. This is my crosscut sled. It's a variation of the classic design by Mike Liebstrom, featured in the October 1988 issue of Great Carpentry magazine. I incorporated some of the improvements suggested by Gert Post and Randy Pratt in their landmark book, Jack of All Joinery. It's out of print now, but if you ever find a copy, do yourself a favor and send it to me because I lost mine. And the final design of this sled was produced in collaboration with the great woodworker Todd Onderdonk. You can find our video about making this on his YouTube channel, Hey, I've Got Wood.